Hey game designers, in this video we're going to do a quick how to model the torch. I'm not going to do a full demonstration about how to model the torch that we created in class, but I'm going to go ahead and give you kind of like the skill set that you will need to create the torch. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to download your reference, and here is my reference right here. I'm going to go ahead and drag my reference down. Doesn't seem to work here, so we're going to actually have to create an object. So let's go ahead and right click here and go to create. And let's see if we can create a simple 2D object. So we got effects, lights. Let's go to audio, video, user interface. I'm sure there's an object that we can use here. Let's go with a plane. I think that's what we're going to use. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and toss this texture onto the plane, and now our plane can act as a reference. So let's go ahead and rotate that thing. I'm going to hold Control and try to get it to snap to exactly 90 degrees. I can just type it in right here. Okay, so there is our reference. Now I can always scale that up. If you use the R tool, you can scale up the reference that we have here. So you can see here, and let me move it up a little bit so it's not inside the floor. And again, we're going to try to model this as closely as we can and as quickly as we can. So the entire part of modeling the torch is starting with a cylinder. So under Pro Builder, we're going to go over here, and we're going to type a cylinder. Now, we're not going to have any, we're going to do a radius of, let's go, 1 looks good. Number of sides is 20. We're going to leave that always. We're going to have a height of 20, and we're going to have 19 subdivisions. So let's just say that we have 19 subdivisions. So again, if you have 20 sections that you want each section to be 1 unit high, you'll make 19 height segments, and that should give you 20 pieces. Okay, we're going to click Build, and then we're going to close the box so that we're not seeing double images here. And what we're doing is, again, we are shaping this thing into a torch. So everything is about manipulating edge rings. So let's say I start at the bottom. Okay, so I start at the bottom, and the bottom looks like kind of a circle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Edge Mode inside Pro Builder here, and try to click the very last edge. So click on the bottom edge right here. You can see here it turned yellow. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on one of these selection tools to click the entire edge loop. Once you click the entire edge loop, you can now use the scale tool to scale it in and out. So I'm going to kind of scale it in right here, maybe even all the way down to a very crisp point, something like that. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next edge ring. So I'm going to click on this one. Click on the edge ring, the other one. So let's click on the edge loop. I got the entire edge loop. And again, I'm going to taper it in a little bit down. Grab the middle one here. So I'm tapering it down. Okay, and I can move it. So not just can I click on it, I can actually move it. So you can see here that I'm starting to form something that's closer and closer to looking like the one right there. Actually, I think I'm going to Control Z a little bit here and show you guys some things that we could do. We can actually pull the point down here as well. So I can go to vertex mode and just grab the bottom vertex here and just pull that down. So that kind of creates our tip for us. We won't have to make the next edge ring. So let's go back and go ahead and click on the next edge ring here. Go to edge mode, click on the edge loop. And again, I want to scale it down to make it look like it's rounded. I can move it down to try to create a rounder bottom here. I'm going to click on the next edge loop, click on the entire edge, move it down, use the R tool to scale it. So again, I'm just trying to make it look like a rounded ball on the bottom here. And I'm going to go to the next edge right here, click on the edge loop, and then go ahead and move it there. And now I'm going to start to taper in a little bit here. So I'm going to grab this edge loop, select the entire edge, and move it down, and then use the scale tool to suck in a little bit. So again, you can see here how this kind of forms similarly to the ball down here. Now, again, you can always go back and re-edit these if you kind of feel like, okay, that's not exactly where I want it. So maybe I don't want the tip to be too sharp here. I'm going to round it out a little bit more. Okay, go back to my edge loops. Okay, so you can see here that this is going to take a lot of time to go here and go all the way up. But I'm going to teach you some of the tools you might need, again, to kind of go through all these various sections. So, for example, let's say you run out of edge loops and you want to insert more edge loops. Well, to do that, click on a edge that you want to create a perpendicular edge loop, and then there's a tool called Insert Edge Loop. You can see it right here. And if I click on this button, it adds another edge loop. So when you start running out of edge loops as you go up and down, you can always add more. So you can see here, this is one that I grabbed here. So again, I can move it down. Make sure that I got the whole edge loop. Yep, I got the whole edge loop right here. I'm going to move it down. Some of this looks a little distorted. So it's making me wonder if there's any issues here with whether it's perpendicular or not. Maybe it's just my imagination, but it looks like this thing is kind of warping out of a little bit out of control here. I don't know. Hard to tell. It's hard to tell if these faces are exactly the same size. Ideally, if everything is upright, let's go back to the object and make sure that my object is upright. So it looks like when I create this cylinder, it should be directly up and down. So I don't know if it is or not, but it looks like it is. Okay. So again, it's going to go all the way up and all the way down. You're going to create, smooth parts, and then you create another ridges. You guys look at my final version up here and see how many details that I did here. So you can see I started here, went up here, created a little thickness here, then a fatter part here to match that. Then I went up here, created some grooves right here. And let me show you guys the actual object. And to show you all the edges here, or all the edges. You can see here, I created the edge loops all the way up and down to create this. And again, it takes a lot of detail. So here's a part that I do need to kind of cover is the top. So let's go over and kind of do the top so you guys get an idea how to create the cup that's going to ultimately hold the fire. You can see here that the cup is, in fact, inward. So let me show you guys how we're going to do that part right here. All right, so let's go and go to the edge loop here, and we're going to click on the edge right here. Okay, and let's click this one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click this circle right here. Let's go, I don't know, how many subdivisions do I want? Let's go about 3. So let's say this is going to be the top of the cup. And all these faces are going to be on the inside of the cup. So I'm going to take this edge, I'm going to click on this edge loop right here, and I'm going to make and scale it out really wide. Okay, so that's because it's going to be the fattest part of my model. I'm going to click on this edge loop and scale that out. Okay, click on this edge loop. And by the way, you can click multiple edge loops. So I can click on this edge loop and this edge loop and click on select edge loop, and I can scale both of them out. So you can create ones that are parallel. Okay, so you can see here that I kind of tapered that one in. Now I'm just going to select this one and taper in even more. Okay, something like that. Okay, so let's just make it look a little bit more closer to this one and make it a little bit more outward. Okay, all right, so you can see here I formed kind of like the upward cup, but now here's the cool part. You can actually take these and start moving them down, like down and inward. So let me give you an example. I'm going to take this edge loop right here. I'm going to expand it out pretty close to the cup itself, and I'm going to move it inside. So you can see right here that it's starting to become the inside of the cup. I'm going to grab this edge loop, or this edge, select the entire edge loop, and push it down. And now I'm going to take the last edge loops, select the edge loop, and push that inside. Okay, and in fact, you can actually even move the entire face and say you want the flat part to be exactly like this. You can do a face one as well. So I can click on faces, click on this face, and then select the entire face loop. Left click every single one, and I can just move this face loop down and kind of create the inside of the torch, right? So you can see here that I created kind of like a rough of the torch. And again, you can come here and put more final detail. But that is a quick video on how to make the torch itself. And I will make another video separately to make the stand. Okay, and that is all.